Hey, everybody. Welcome to Friday's edition of SportsMemo's MLB Full Count Show. Bear with me today as I am filling in for Joe D'Amico, who's taking some time off. As you saw, Jeff did a great job filling in for the show yesterday. But just because the D'Amicos are out doesn't mean we don't want to keep bringing you winners every day from the best website on the planet, SportsMemo, Wager Talk. And today on the program, as usual, we have our guests, Kevin Thomas, the Killer, and that Southern assassin, Rocky Atkinson, is here with us today. Going to bring you winners on three specific games on today's slate, as well as a best bet for each of us. So without further ado, I want to get into this. And, maybe I'm not as sexy as savory as Joe or Jeff yesterday, but we'll get after that. And we've approached, before we get into it, we hit 5,000 and we want to get to 10,000 by the end of football season. So smash that subscribe button, give us comments. We will regularly read them as you, and sometimes answer them as we're talking. But let's get into it. First game on the slate today is 7:10 start. It's the San Diego Padres going to face the New York Mets. Good pitching matchup here. Yu Darvish faces Max Scherzer, who's looked amazing since coming back off the IL. Padres are 52-42, visiting the Mets in their first game off of the All-Star break. Mets at 58-35, still leading the NL East there. We got this set. Mets are about minus 180, I think is what we're looking at here on this, with a total of 7. So I want to get a good idea on what let's go with Rocky on what he thinks first in this Padres taking on the Mets tonight.
Thank you, Dr. Chuck. Glad to be here with you guys. Let's take a look at this game here. Like you said, a good pitching matchup here. Yu Darvish starts for San Diego. He's having a good season overall, but he's 3-3 with a 5.25 ERA on the road this year. Max Scherzer gets the start for the Mets here. He's 6-1 with a 2.22 ERA overall this year, 3-0 with a 2.45 ERA at home this season, and he's 1-0 with a 1.40 ERA his last 3 starts. Add to that, Scherzer 6-2 with a 2.87 ERA in his 16 career starts against San Diego. The Mets are 28-15 at home this year, allowing only 3.5 runs per game. Opponents have a combined batting average of only .221 when visiting New York this season. Over the past 7 games overall, the Mets are allowing only 2.1 runs per game, allowing opponents a combined batting average of only .208. The Mets are 26-8 this year after a loss. The Mets are 28-8 the last 36 games after a day off. And the Mets are 22-5 the last 27 games in game 1 of a series. San Diego's 3-10 their last 13 road games. And the Mets have won 6 of the past 8 meetings at home against this San Diego team. If I had to play this, the line's a little bit high for me to personally play it. But if I had to play it, I'd play the Mets on the money line here.
Yeah, it's tough with this line, like you said, and I'm sure Kevin will bring it up because Kevin is very big on value and avoiding laying big. There's time to lay big wood, and then there's time where you can find a different spot on that. One interesting thing before we get to Kevin is, and I don't know if Rocky had looked into this or not, it's a low total, even in the NL with the DHs this season, but Yu Darvish as a road dog is 2 overs and 10 unders in his last 12 starts. So interesting aspect there, but I'm sure Kevin is going to be going a different direction here with the Mets laying 180. So let's see what he has to say about this game.
Yeah, I could agree more with that total of 7. If I was just looking at it, I would probably bet the under, and I'd probably end up being wrong. It's after the All-Star game. These guys are off a break, and I always like to fade. Like I faded the Yankees in both games yesterday because they had plenty of guys in the All-Star game. They're out there partying. They're out on the West Coast where the Padres are, so not a lot of travel. So they travel pretty much as the Mets that were in the All-Star Home Run Derby. I expect I probably would lead towards the under here just because of that aspect. And Yu Darvish 3-1 against the Mets. I think his ERA is around 3. Scherzer on the other hand is 6-2, 16 starts against the Padres. His ERA is under 3. So that 7 looks like a nice solid a lock there. But if I had to take one, I would take the Padres. I would take the 1.5. I think you get it minus 140. It's still a little high for me. I might just ride the Padres, but I think it's going to be like a 3-2 game, which either team can win this. I mean, the Padres, their last 2 games, I think scored like 15 runs, and that was what they were lacking is offense. So did the rest help? I guess we're going to find out. But like I said, that All-Star game out there in LA, that kind of benefits the Padres because the Mets, stay out there, do a little extra partying. So I would take the Padres with the 1.5 run line.
Yeah, get good value on that 1.5 here with the big line that the Mets are laying. You brought up a couple things, interesting aspects of some of the games that we're not touching on today with All-Star festivities. Ohtani is playing, in Atlanta against the champs tonight against Charlie Morton. We're not covering that one specifically. The Yankees, off of 2 losses in Houston, have to go to Baltimore, where the Orioles are waiting on them 11-4 this month, and are probably thinking exactly what Kevin said. All right, you guys had your fun, but we're kind of for real. And now you took it easy yesterday. Not a good spot for the Yankees here. So there's a lot of interesting stuff. I would definitely lean towards that under because with the DH this season, when you get a 7, it's head scratching a little bit, right? So, but let's move on to the next game here, where it's another game we're looking at, same start time, where the flipping leagues here, Toronto Blue Jays are going to face an NL East foe, Boston Red Sox. They're about I have to make sure that I got the line right, but minus 120. Total is 9 here. And Kevin Gossman will be taking on Nathan Eovaldi. And I want to get I don't know if you guys care who starts, but we'll go back to Rocky here and see what he thinks about the other 2 teams that are, in addition to the Rays, that are contending for the really tough AL East this season.
Yeah, another tough game here, Dr. Chuck. The 3 games we were talking about today, all of them are really tough matchups to call, in my opinion anyway. Toronto's 50-43 this year. Boston comes in with a 48-45 overall record on the season. And this Boston team, they've really stunk it up the past 7 games overall, going 1-6 during that time. But I think the break's going to help them here get back focused in this strong American League East division race. Nathan Eovaldi gets to start for Boston, where he is 4-2 with a 3.34 ERA overall this year. And he's 2-0 with a 1.76 ERA his last 3 starts. Toronto is 1-5 the last 6 road games against right-handed starters. Toronto's 0-4 the last 4 road games. Boston is 7-1 the last 8 games following a day off. And Boston is 14-6 the last 20 games during game 1 of a series. The public's on Toronto here. I'm going to recommend I'm just going to lean to Boston at home in this game.
Yeah, I like a lot of what you said there because, like you said, this is a really tough division. And looking ahead to the slate, like you said, we picked some really tough games, but the home dog atmosphere in this AL East, I don't think I want to be on a road favorite, which kind of is similar to what I had said with the Yankees and in Baltimore tonight. And we're going to cover the next game as a similar type situation. But let's see if Kevin has any different idea or if he's maybe looking at a total or a prop, because we know that he can kill those prop bets.
I'm actually riding with the public here with the Blue Jays. I mean, you got Kevin Gausman on the mound, and I think he's given up 1 earned run in like 20-some innings against these Red Sox. Now, how many Red Sox were in that All-Star game? I'm pretty sure 3 or 4 of them were in there, and they each got like 2 or 3 at-bats, 2 for sure. So that's another thing I look at. How many guys were in the All-Star game? They're coming back home after being out in L.A., maybe hung out with their buddies. It's a little extra party. These Blue Jays historically are bad second half of the season. But after firing Charlie Montoya, I mean, they're 5-1. So I'm going to ride Kevin Guzman here. I think this new coach gets things turned around, and these Blue Jays become contenders and not pretenders.
Well, it's probably not to be unexpected with a tough slate like this that we have a couple of head-to-heads. So I love when we get a little back and forth there. But a question I have just to follow up for Kevin is: do you think I think you probably iterated there that you think the Blue Jays are better off. They made the right decision, moved on from that manager, and maybe they can turn this season around and maybe even be a playoff contender again, like we all thought. I mean, I can't remember.
Look at my Phillies. Look at my Phillies when they fire. How they turned it around, and now they're 5-1. So maybe there was something that some of those guys didn't really like the coaching. And then you got Springer, who, I mean, he's got like 5 days of rest now. I expect him to come out big in this game here. And like I said, I mean, Devers is a beast, and these guys are beasts for for Boston, but they're coming off that All-Star game. And I tend to fade guys that have been in the All-Star game. I tend to fade the teams. The dogs are barking. Maybe I should switch that pick, but I'm going to ride the public Blue Jays here. Small, lean, money line.
All right.
I would look at the under. I would look at the under too. Two great pitchers.
Yeah, I know, and it's interesting too because like we said, it's a little bit of a pitching matchup, but a 2-run difference from that NL total game. But DH is in both leagues, so it's interesting to look at in a trend type of way. Let's move on to the third one here, where this is just fascinating. I don't know if you guys wanted this game to be on here or not. It's just fascinating to me because I'm really into the killer sports, STQL type of scenarios, and the Astros are off of that doubleheader yesterday. They got both wins against the Yankees. 2 times ever in database history has a team won 12. We're not talking 13 or 14. On a 12-game win streak or more and been dog at home. There's the Cardinals last year. They won that game. Brewers a few years ago. They lost that game. So it's just 1-1. But, I mean, we're in unprecedented territory for the Mariners to be on a 14-game win streak, be at home, and be a dog. Astros probably are one of those situations that warrant it. Tonight we got the Astros a short road favorite here. Jose Urquidy on the mound facing the lefty Marco Gonzalez. Let's go back. Let's do one more time. Keep with our mojo here and see what Rocky has to say about the Mariners as dogs at home, looking for 15 in a row.
Yeah, another good matchup here, Dr. Chuck. You have Houston coming in 61-32, Seattle's 51-42. So Seattle's on a 14-game winning streak and still sit 10 games behind this Astros team. Yeah. And like I say, they've won 14 row heading tonight. They've had several days rest while Houston played a doubleheader against the Yankees yesterday. So I think that's going to factor in tonight. Marco Gonzalez start for Seattle. He has a 3.50 ERA overall this year, 3.21 ERA at home this season. Jose Urquidy gets the call for Houston. He's 1-3 with a 6.83 ERA in his 6 career starts versus Seattle. Over the past 7 games, Houston has a team batting average of only .204. We've talked about the current 14-game winning streak, but going back even a little farther, Seattle is 22-4 their last 26 games overall. They're 20-6 the last 26 games against right-handed starters. They're 23-9 their last 32 games following an off day. And Seattle has won 6 of the past 8 meetings at home versus Houston. So I'm going to recommend a play on the home dog, Seattle, tonight.
Yeah, I like that. I just couldn't imagine wanting to, fade the Mariners at this point, although they did have that break. So I want to see what Kevin thinks about what happens to a 14-game win streak when you just plow into, they're 14-1 this month. So what does Kevin think about what happens here? The Astros, maybe are they in a letdown spot off that rival Yankees, even though they might need to be more worried about the Mariners?
I do have my premium pick on this game, so I will lean more towards the total here, and I think the total is 8.5. The way the Mariners beat up Jose Urquidy and Marco Gonzalez has had great numbers against the Astros, but the Astros are a professional team and they have hitters on the team. And I yesterday, one of my prop bets was taking the pitcher for the Astros, and it didn't go well for me because it is super hot at these games, and I can't expect a lot from these pitchers in these games today. I mean, where I'm at now, it's pushing 100, and I'm on the East Coast, so I can't imagine what the temperatures are all over the place. So I would lean towards that under 8.5 because I think the bullpens might see action a little early, but I would lean towards the under 8.5.
So I like that under as well. That's definitely where I'm at. Both these teams have a bad VMI, high ADI, and it's funny you brought up the heat being a factor. Actually, in Seattle, it's one of the nicest places. I think it's only about 70 at game time tonight. But that doesn't mean it's still, like you said. I just think there's got to be some sort of a letdown, and really interesting spot here. And I love that Rocky is putting out there that he's going for him to win 15 in a row. So now might as well get to our best bets here. So I don't know if anybody wants to volunteer to go first. We'll look at our best bets if it matters. Let's start with Kevin Thomas this time, since we started with Rocky. And let's hear not only your best bet, but what you have going on over at SportsMemo, what you're looking at this weekend. If you have anything, upcoming that isn't just baseball related, let us know about that too. And any promos or deals you got going.
Over at SportsMemo, you can get my premium pick on that Mariners game tonight that we just talked about. And I'm just going to be putting up baseball until football starts. That's what I'm looking forward to. You can still get the preseason package. My good friend Joe D'Amico, I know he's on a 10% on his 10 percenters. I know he's logged in over there, so you can check that out. I know he's on a vacation from a vacation. And Dr. Chuck, Joe's jealous of that hair, so don't ever think he's better looking than you. But I'll get right to that free best bet. I'm going with the Giants over the Dodgers. This is a must-win for these Giants. Last night, coming back, and it's 6-5, and then blowing that game. Oh gosh! And Logan Webb. I mean, the guy, like I said to Dr. Chuck, I wish the Giants would have a fire sale and he could come over to the East Coast. I know it's not happening. We're going to look towards the Nationals to start selling players. But Logan Webb, I mean, 2 gems of a start last 2 games, and most of his starts are gems. Run support's been the problem, so I'm hoping this all-star break, I'm hoping we see a little more offense. Tyler Anderson on the other 10-1, and I like Tyler Anderson when he was with the Rockies. With the Dodgers, I'm not sold on him being 10-1. That's just a great ball club over there. The addition of Freeman is paying off huge dividends for this team. But the Giants, I think they have to grind down and pull out a win here. I don't care what they have to do. They need to win this game. So I'm going to go ahead and take the Giants and rake in all that money.
Well, you don't have to watch a whole lot of the MLB shows on SportsMemo to know that I love that play. I very publicly and client based to have a Giants to make the playoffs prop bet out there, and it's gotten a little better than it even was at the beginning of the season. But yeah, I mean, Rodon didn't have his best stuff last night. They still picked him up and then still pissed it away at the end. So that was rough. But yeah, like you said, Freeman to start it off, Mookie to end it. The Dodgers are the kind of team that is scary in this time of year when you're adding players and making playoff pushes, and it's scary to think that they might do it again. Adding someone, I mean, God forbid they add Juan Soto. But I digress here. Go Giants. And let's get over to the Southern Assassin here, who, if his best bet sounds familiar, it's because great minds think alike. If you guys watched the show yesterday, SportsMemo today, but I want to hear what Rocky's best bet is, as well as what he's got going on at the site and what he's looking at for the future and everything going on for him.
Yeah, as far as today, I am passing with my premium plays here on Friday for the weekend. Hopefully I have some Major League Baseball, WNBA. I'm hitting 73% this year in WNBA. First time I've actually tried to tackle that sport, and so far so good. And NASCAR. I am having a losing NASCAR season right now. I've never had a losing NASCAR season in my history. So these new cars have taken its toll on me so far. I got to get it figured out, get it turned around, and have a positive finish in the end. But as far as our show best bet here today, I'm looking at the Rockies and the Brewers matchup. Colorado's 43-50 overall this year. Milwaukee's 50-43. And like we said before on the show, Milwaukee has underachieved, in my opinion, this year so far. So they're going to need to turn it up a notch here in the second half. Antonio Senzatella gets to start for the Rockies here. He's 3-5 with a 4.95 ERA overall this year. He's 0-3 with a 6.86 ERA on the road this season. And he's 1-2 with a 5.54 ERA his last 3 starts. Corbin Burns toes the rubber for Milwaukee. He's 7-4 with a 2.14 ERA overall this year, 3-3 with a 2.72 ERA at home this season, and he's 1-0 with a 0.89 ERA his last 3 starts. Colorado's 34-73, their last 107 road games against a team with a winning record. Colorado's 11-26, their last 37 road games. Colorado's 10-25, their last 35 games when playing with a day off. Colorado's 22-60, their last 82 road games against a right-handed starter. Milwaukee's 6-2, their last 8 games when playing with a day off. Milwaukee's 3-0 at home versus Colorado the past 3 years, and they've won 5 straight in this series. Very high favorite on the money line, so I'm going to look at the run line here, and I'm going to play Milwaukee Brewers minus the 1.5. It's minus 120, minus 125 the last time I checked here in this one.
Yeah, and as I said when I introduced it, it's, you know, I say this a lot. I don't love taking a home team on the run line, but when I do, there's a lot of good reasons for it. And Antonio Senzatella his advanced metrics are laughably bad, and it's not the kind of lineup. You know, the Brewers, the Giants need these wins, but it's not to be understated that with the playoff changes, Brewers need to step it up too, because that's not. Can you imagine the Brewers win the division and then what their reward is the Braves in the first round? So, you know, the playoff changes are important, and down the stretch, it's going to be a big deal. So, all right. So we've got Kevin Thomas in with the Giants, Rocky, the Southern Assassin, in with I love the Brewers run line there. And don't forget to go check out, like Kevin said, he's got a premium play tonight. Rocky is, of course, going to get back on the horse here as the chase nears in NASCAR. Everything is going to, you know, even out here. I trust that he will definitely figure it out. And don't forget Joe D'Amico. You know, he is unfortunately making you guys suffer through me hosting this show, but he still is putting out winners and has a 10-unit play out there today. I'm going to go for a best bet tonight in a game that I haven't talked about yet, but is going to be really near and dear to Kevin's heart with a couple of Kevin's heart with a couple of starters that he remembers not so fondly, I assume. And Cole Irvin facing Spencer Howard in the Rangers versus the A's. Rangers were one of the teams that actually did play yesterday, and they went to Miami. They had to face Pablo Lopez in a makeup game. They hammered it, won the game in a shutout. John Gray looked great. I didn't even expect that to happen and still loved this spot. The line moved enormously right off the bat, probably because the A's didn't play, and they are the A's at home, and the Rangers did play and looked great against a team that they probably trust more. Plus, the public doesn't know a lot about Miami Marlins in general and things like that, but they know Pablo Lopez is a solid starter. Rangers didn't have any trouble, and Corey Seager didn't play. Everything about this is perfect as far as backing a short road favorite here who started off as a road dog. Cole Irvin is off of a really good performance against the Astros, which is a great time to fade him because that's all fake. Spencer Howard is not a guy that anyone loves to back, but has solid advanced metrics as compared to his ERA and things like that. And it's just really bargain price. Corey Seager did partake in all the festivities, you know, really looked great in the home run derby, but then he got the day off. And so I think, as to Kevin's point, you know, the Rangers already played a game. Corey Seager already had a day off. I think that's a big boon to the lineup tonight. And I just think there's too much value to get the Rangers on the road. You know, in the division, the Rangers are not going to be favored against anyone except the Athletics because of the division. But when they are favored against the Athletics on the road, usually works out pretty well, 4-2 so far. And I think it's a bargain price to get them. I'd play this probably up to minus 125 or minus 30 if it does go there. And the Rangers, I think, take care of business again tonight, starting the series off against the Athletics. So that pretty much does it. Again, check out sportsmemo.com. Everybody has some serious packages up there today. There's more and more value and more cappers to choose from. Look at All Access. I always recommend going All Access. If you had All Access, you would have gotten Kevin's premium play the second he released it. Don't have to go get it right now. Same with Rocky. He's offering a lot more than just baseball out there as well. So check us out at Sports Memo, best website out there for winners. You're always going to have a deal, and you know, we won't let you down, and we are as transparent as it gets. And want you to be with us, and especially get some money in the end of baseball for the football season upcoming. So thanks so much for joining us for this feel-good Friday edition of Sports Memo MLB Full Count, and we will see you again Monday. The D'Amico still will not be back, so I'm not sure who is going to be the host then, but we will see you again then, and hopefully you tune in Monday at 3 o'clock. Thanks so much, guys, and have a good weekend.